Hello, everybody, and good afternoon, and welcome to this CPD webinar from Learnsignal. My name is Alan Lynch, and I am the Head of Education at Learnsignal. So welcome to everybody. I see we have a great number attending live today, so that's really positive. So I would expect lots of questions about your CPD and how you do CPD and what's the best way to get it done. And I think if we're looking for a theme of today's CPD session, it's all about that CPD doesn't have to be a chore. And I think that's the big thing. I think we can sometimes mix up CPD with being something we have to do. And a lot of people here, as far as I'm aware, are ACCA qualified. So you kind of go, I have to do all of these units, and I have to complete the units, and I have to submit them to ACCA and make sure that if they ever ask me, I know how many units I've done, and so on. And I think that has to be sometimes people do their CPD and then they do separate learning as if the CPD isn't learning. I think it's really important that we try today to really show you, yes, CPD is important. Yes, it is a requirement for your qualification, but it's actually can be such a benefit for your career. And if you can come up with a way of mixing those two together, if you can merge those two goals of completing your CPD and making yourself stronger in your career, I think you could really have a much better relationship with CPD. And again, I think you should look at CPD as an outcome from learning and not the other way around. So I'm just going to cover a couple of things today. I'm not going to give you lots of PowerPoint slides and things like that. Let's have a conversation. I think that's a better way of engaging. And that's the way we want to engage with you today. So a couple of points I'm just going to cover today is one, I'm just going to, do a refresh in case anybody is unsure about what their CPD requirements are for ACCA. And if anybody has any other questions on other CPD requirements, I'd quite happily help you out. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the career aspect of it and how it can be beneficial. And then finally, I'm going to show you some, neat ways or easier ways of completing that CPD, especially at this time of the year if you're behind and you're looking for a solution. There's no easy way. You still have to put in the time and you still have to put in the effort, but I think I have some ideas that will make it a lot less like a chore. And again, if you can balance the two things together that I'm talking about, if you can kind of look where you are in your career and then look at what you could do as CPD in the coming 31 days, I think you could really benefit from both. If you have any questions, put them in the chat down below. Again, there are a lot of you on this call today, on this webinar, and I guess you're all here for a reason. And maybe it's just to hear about CPD. It's probably not just to hear me talking. So maybe you've come here today thinking you have a question, you have a concern, there's something you're not sure of, and maybe I'll cover as we're talking. Well, put your questions in the Ask a Question or in the chat down below, or even just say hi to me. I like people saying hi, so say hi, tell me where you're from, maybe how many years you've been qualified for ACCA, where you're working, anything like that. It's good to get to know each other, because as I see you putting that information in there, I can certainly maybe adjust or give you some ideas about where you're working or what might help. So the more you share, the more I can possibly help you today. So first, we're going to do just a little recap on what the ACCA requirements are for CPD. So you are required to do 40 units of CPD every year for ACCA. So that 40 units effectively equates to 40 hours of effort. Now, of that 40 hours, 21 hours has to be recorded, and it has to be independently recorded. So when I say independently recorded, like at Learnsignal, when you do a course at Learnsignal, let's say for 2 units, the minute you finish that and complete that course, you get a certificate from Learnsignal that certifies the fact that you have done a course and that it's worth 2 units. And therefore, if ACCA asks you to show proof of your CPD, you can take that certificate and that 2 units will count. So again, you have to have 21 certified units. They can't be self-certified. The other 19 units can be self-certified. So they could be reading magazines, reading newspapers, reading websites, whatever that might be, keeping up to date. You might have regular work emails, whatever it might be. If you had to do that, I think a lot of people easily do 19 units or 19 hours a year in that kind of self-certified, keeping themselves up to date. But today we're going to concentrate on the 21 units that you have to have certified. So of that 21 units you have to have certified, it's really key that it's relevant to your career. Now, it's not about doing any course that you can come up with. So I could do a course, and I see Ranjita there has sent me a message, and I will talk to you in a second. But let's say that Ranjita did a course and I did a course and they were the same course. That doesn't 100% mean that I will get the same value as Ranjita. So Ranjita's course could be relevant to her career. It could be relevant to the company that she's working in. It could be relevant to anything that she's doing as part of her qualification. Now, for me, I mightn't be working in that area. I mightn't be working in that relevant industry. I mightn't be dealing with that area of expertise. So therefore, should I have done that course? So it might have been vaguely interesting and I might have been curious about it, but has it really kept me up to date in the area I'm working? Now, you don't have to worry about that too much, just to be a little bit careful of it. I think any course on Learnsignal, because we are an approved ACCA CPD provider, any course on Learnsignal, I'm pretty confident if you went to ACCA with any of our course details, they would have no problem in certifying them. As I said, we are one of just a few certified ACCA providers. So that certainly wouldn't be an issue. But in your wider CPD world, just be careful. You can certainly get a certificate for it, but just be careful that it's actually applying on it. And what I've used before is that you can't do a first aid course and submit it for your ACCA CPD, for example. And that's a bit of an extreme version, but that's an example. So that's a very simple, straightforward way of looking at your requirements. And it is simple and straightforward. It's not a complex thing. There are, depending on your stage of career, and if you go onto the ACCA's website, there are some exemptions from that. There are some reductions depending if you're working or retired. But I'm going to assume all people on this call are pretty well qualified and are working or looking to get a job and are keeping up those 21 certified units. Let's see who said hello. Hi, Ranjita from Nairobi, an ACCA member for 16 years. So you've been toiling with CPD for 16 years, Ranjita. Good for you. Stephen Joseph, can you start CPD as an undergraduate? You can start CPD anytime. It just depends on what qualifications you can get, but you can certainly use CPD as a way of increasing your knowledge while you're studying. Hello, Daniel from Sierra Leone, ACCA member. And great to see you here, Daniel. Great to see everybody. And I see Ramona and Nika and other people have said hello. So it is great to see everybody here today. Again, if you have any questions about anything that I'm talking about, again, I like to make these interactive if we can. Hello, Pavel, member since 2018. You're making me feel very old, Pavel. Hello, Ikra. So let me move on to the second point I wanted to cover today. And it's that thing about ACCA being a chore instead of a career enhancer. And I really strongly believe it's a career enhancer. So there's a couple of ways of looking at CPD. It's something I have to do. Oh, I have to get my 21 units. It's dreadful. And a lot of you every year might be thinking, oh, this year will be different. I'm going to start it in February or March, and I'm going to do a few units every month. And then by the end of the year, I'll have it all done. And now here we are on the 30th of November, you have 1 month left, and maybe you got a lot of units left to do. And I think CPD can often be seen as a chore. But if you flip CPD, and if you look at what if you concentrated on education to benefit your career, and as a result, it also completed your CPD. That's a much nicer way of looking at it. It's much more motivating. It's much more beneficial to your career, your position, hopefully your bank account too. And you get your CPD. So I think a lot of people get a bit and I know people who do CPD courses and then they do really, really interesting education courses or really interesting courses. And it's like they double up because they're not seeing the career benefit of doing their CPD. And that's what CPD is. It's about keeping you up to date. And I think what can happen with CPD is people get a bit too carried away. Oh, it has to be a course on IFRSs, or it has to be a course on updated standards on cash flows. And it actually doesn't. it actually has to be a course that's relevant to your career and beneficial to maintaining your ACCA designation. So if you're doing a course on HR because people are reporting into you, that's important. That's really important CPD. If you're doing a course on cryptocurrency, or if you're doing a course on a new IFRS that's applicable to your business, obviously that's good CPD. So it depends on the stage of your career that you're in, but it's not all about financial reporting standards. It's not all about the numbers. It's all about maximizing your ACCA membership in your career. So if you look at that, everything that you do should be to give yourself the next opportunity. So you shouldn't be wasting time doing courses that are not relevant to you just for CPD, when that time could have been benefit for your career, and then you could have done your CPD as well. So for example, if you think now, let's say was a Pavel who's been a member since 2018. So I'm going to draw a picture of Pavel, whether it's true or not. So let's say Pavel has been a member since 2018, and in the last couple of years, he has started having people reporting into him. So maybe you're working in a finance department, maybe you have people reporting into you, maybe you're reporting into other people. Now, real key things about that is learning how to manage people, doing their appraisals, organizing your work, building your team. All of those type of things make you use your ACCA qualification better. And if anybody like Pavel or people, and I see ICRA has been a member since 2020, if you think about it, the ACCA qualification wasn't all numbers, it wasn't all calculations. And certainly less and less was all about putting sets of financial statements together. You only have to look at the problems that you have to solve in SBL and SBR to know that the ACCA qualification is changing an awful lot. And the role of an accountant is changing an awful lot. And it's not that stereotypical sitting in a dark room, adding up all the numbers, putting a profit and loss account together, putting together a set of accounts that's 50 pages long, and then starting the whole process again. Because a lot of that is now done automatically. So your role now is to add value to a company. And adding value to a company is your insight, it's having knowledge about strategy, it's having knowledge about the business, but it's also about motivating other people in your team, motivating people that you're working with directly, whether they report to you or you report to them, understanding how they work, understanding how you work. How can you become more efficient in your workplace? Because all of those improvements are making you a better accountant. And CPD is about staying up to date and continuously making yourself a better accountant. And I think that's really important for you to consider here, is that don't just look at courses that you think you should do to get CPD. Look at them from a perspective of what makes you a better accountant. And sometimes it'll be a better people manager, and sometimes it will be a new IFRS that you have to review. But choose them for yourself. And that means that not only will you get your CPD, but if an opportunity comes up in where you work, or if a new job opportunity comes up, you can say that you've done, and you have to have people reporting into you for the first time. You can say you've done people management courses, you've done motivation and leadership courses. So all of these things will add up, and they are constantly adding to your CV. Now, I'm not suggesting on your CV you put the list of all the courses you did to get your units. But if you're going for a job, you find out what core skills are interesting for that job. And if you've done courses on that recently, yes, it's worthwhile listing 1 or 2 or 3 courses on your CV to say, oh, recently I did a people management course. Oh, yes, I will have people reporting into me. And I took that really seriously. So I went and did an appraisals course to make sure that I understood how to appraise the staff and how to give them the best opportunity to be successful in their role. So that's something that you should really think about with your CPD. Take the whole chore out of it. Take the whole negativity and go, oh, I have to do my CPD. Turn it around and look at it as an opportunity to get a better job, an opportunity to get paid more, an opportunity to take advantage of opportunities, of chances in your company, in a new country, in a brand new world, whatever it might be. Use it as an opportunity to push yourself to continually learn. And then at the end of the year, if you take that approach, then at the end of the year, you'll be in such a strong position and your CPD will be done. You'll be a better accountant. You'll be a better option for companies. You'll put yourself in a position where you're differentiating yourself from competition, whether it be an internal or external job that you're going for. You've now differentiated yourself. You are on that path of continuous improvement. And that's what CPD is. But if you take away the chore and you look at that as it's just continually improving me, making me a better option for the company I'm working in, making my career, opening more doors for my career. If you take that approach, CPD becomes really easy. It becomes really useful. It becomes really practical. You all know, all of you have done ACCA exams. You don't pass those exams without work, without real effort, without real commitment. And you are able to commit to those ACCA exams, some of you for years. Some of you started the very first exam. Some of you started at different levels because of exemptions, but you had to go into college before that. So you worked really, really hard for that ACCA qualification. You only have to work a fraction of that to manage your CPD and manage your career at the same time. And if you can plan that effectively, you'll just become a completely different person. And as you grow with your experience in your job, as you grow with your experience in your CPD training, again, more opportunities will arise and you will differentiate yourself. Because you know when you're going for internal jobs or external jobs, you're very rarely the only person there. So what will make them remember you? What will make them remember the fact that you're in front of them? And that feeling of continuously learning, of continuously improving, that is a type of person a company wants to invest in. I'm just going to jump back to a few questions now. Hello, Fahad from Bangladesh, member since 2018. A lot of recent members. Hello, Kani. It's my first year of doing CPD. Oh, hopefully it doesn't look as imposing as it probably did in my first year. And again, don't let it look imposing. Let it look like a real opportunity. Hello, Tendai. We have a question from Kahinde. Does the number of units for the recorded CPD units have to be predetermined? There are extensive courses that are provided by employers with no predetermined CPD units, but are well worth the 40 CPD units. Yes and no, I guess, Kahinde. So it depends on, so if you have done a course with your employer, for example, and let's say it's a week-long course, and let's say it's every day for a week. So you're going to say, let's say 40 hours, as you said there. If it's relevant, if it's related to you maintaining your ACCA qualification, if it's relevant for your job, absolutely, I don't see an issue with that. It doesn't necessarily have to be predetermined, but you are taking a little bit more risk if it's not, I guess, because you kind of, if you're left in that situation, you have to justify why. But it's a bit like if you were if you turn around and start doing an MBA now, that MBA would count as CPD, but they're not, the university wouldn't tell you how many CPD units you have. So it's up to you to be able to justify how relevant it is. If you really believe it is, just be really honest with yourself and don't ever put it forward like you were trying to find an easy way out of your CPD. And Tendai from South Africa, member of ACCA for 13 years. I qualified in 2001. My goodness, it's a long time ago now, 20 years, wow. Daniel, I just completed and got my certificate in digital management from Learnsignal, 10 CPD points. There you go, halfway, Daniel, halfway. So I'm glad that worked out for you. But yeah, it's a nice chunk. And actually, that leads me on. So what I'll do, just to show you what Daniel's talking about, is that I'm going to show you a little bit about how we have designed our CPD for your career and for your completion of your CPD. So let me just show you this screen just for 1 minute. And so when you go into Learnsignal, you will get a number of choices. Now, actually, one of the most popular choices, and Daniel did mention it there, was these are what we call our CPD tracks. Now, We understand, especially at this time of the year, depending on how many units you have left to complete, there is a mixture of, yes, I'd like to do courses I'm interested in, but also I have to do it quickly. So we have designed a number of tracks for you. So you might know the area you want to work in. So for example, our management development and corporate strategy tracks are two of our most popular tracks, that and our Excel. Some of these are new recently, so we haven't had enough people do them to see how popular they might be. So if you know that you're taking on management responsibilities, or if you know you want to get more involved in strategy, or there might be an opportunity early in the new year where you could have a more strategic role in the company and you're trying to rebuild up that knowledge, these type of units are for you, and you can, there's a summary there of really what they are, and you can have a look at them, and even if you're not a member, you can sign up to Learnsignal for free with no credit card, and you can go in and have a look at these courses and see if any of them maybe suit you. So there are a number of 21 unit tracks, and then we kind of go down then. So we have 18, 30, 11, and 10, and like as Daniel mentioned, one of the digital ones there, and then we have number of different tracks. So what these tracks actually do, first of all, it's a way of putting your, it's a way of giving you a timetable, I guess, of what you need. You kind of don't have to think about it. You have the comfort in knowing I wanted to do a course on management. You also have the comfort to know that at the end of it all, you have your CPD done. So you've benefited your career because you know you have some management responsibilities, but also you know that at the end, you'll receive a certificate confirming that you have done your 21 units of CPD with Learnsignal, and as an approved ACCA CPD provider, clearly that will be more than you need, or exactly what you need. If, for example, you are thinking about maybe you've done some CPD during the year, I'll keep using Daniel as an example, if that's okay, Daniel. Daniel has done 10 units. So let's see let's imagine Daniel has 11 units left, but kind of wants to touch on a number of different areas. We have quite a large number of courses. And again, these are just samples of the different ones and the different units you can get from those courses. And these are just key areas. So if you wanted to do something on audit or risk or in the HR area, or go into financial management or financial reporting, we have courses in all of these areas. So to make up, if Daniel wanted to make up his other 11 units, he could go in and do a 3-unit course on time management. He could do another one on emotional intelligence. He might do one on a recent IFRS update. And again, each time you do a course, you get a certificate with those number of units, and you can build up to that 21 unit. And again, it's okay to do more than 21. So I do think there is this this belief with people that I don't want to do any more than 21 units. I'd hate to do any more than 21 units. That's like a waste of time. It really isn't a waste of time. Doing more than that 21 units, it's all about your career. If you end up doing 24 or 25, but you've done the right courses and they're beneficial to your career, that's okay too. You don't have to stop at 21. And again, any of our members will know, and like Daniel would know, that when you join Learnsignal, you have access to all of these courses, and you are never limited to how many units you wanted to do. If you felt like doing every single course in the whole year, you would get all of those units, you would get all of their certificates. So it doesn't stop at 21, and you have access to all of the courses and all of the tracks as part of your subscription. So again, you have that flexibility. You can take that curated route where you find an area of interest, and we'll take you through all the units that you need to have. Or it can be more of a DIY where you can go through all of the many different courses that we have, and you can pick the areas that you might want to work on personally, and you can develop your own CPD plan and career plan from there. So that's just to give you a quick idea of what's on the site. I will go back and answer some more questions. Kenny, how do I verify my units through the verifiable ones on a training or course done on a webinar with no certificate? How do you prove it? Sometimes, Kenny, you might get an email confirming that you signed up to it, but it's very hard to say just because you got an email to say you signed up for it doesn't mean you actually attended it. So you do have to be careful about it is worthwhile, Kenny. That's why a lot of places will say, do this and turn up here and you get your CPD. But it's all about getting it verified, and you are better off making sure that the courses you choose are definitely verifiable at the very beginning. Hi, Abby. I have done 40 hours of verifiable CPD. Could I use any towards my non-verifiable? Oh no, that's if you have done 40 hours of verifiable CPD, Abby, you are done. Absolutely. If you have 40 units of verifiable, that will cover everything. And if ACCA ever asked you to prove your CPD, they would very happily put a big green tick beside your name and be very happy with the effort you've made. So absolutely, the unverifiable can be verifiable as well, but it's just that at the minimum of the 21 out of the 40 has to be verified units. So absolutely, they would prefer that more than anything. I'm seeing a little message on my screen then. I don't know if any of you got the email, but I'm getting a reminder for one of the people in our marketing department that we recently closed our Black Friday sale for our CPD members. But in fact, what they are doing, if anybody here is interested, they are reopening our Black Friday sale for today for all of you guys who are attending this webinar. So they have given me a coupon code, and let me just make sure I'm getting the right one. And they've given me a coupon code, which is BFCPD60, and I've just put it in the chat there. And that will reduce your membership, the price of your membership by 60%, which I didn't even know we did that. So that's so if you go on to Learnsignal and enroll and use that coupon code, you will get a 60% reduction. Wow, that's even that's tempting to me. I love a deal. So you get a 60% reduction in the price, and you'll have access for the full year. And there's a great advantage, to be quite honest, of the full year access right now. So if you still have all or some of your CPD to do, you can cover that between now and December, and you can cover next year's CPD as well. So you get a real benefit for that for signing up now. So a 60% reduction. So again, I won't keep selling. I'm not a very good salesperson, so I'll stop talking about that. But again, that is the coupon code. So if anybody wants that, wants to use that, please do. And yeah, it's a great deal, even if I do say so myself. So I don't know whether there's any more questions. I hope this was enough of a summary to try, and I guess the key thing about CPD is to have a plan. And once you have a plan, and if you can tie that plan into your career and make your CPD career focused, instead of always focusing on the chore that you think it might be. And if you can turn that focus around, again, it'll be career focused. You'll have more opportunities. You'll hopefully have a bigger bank balance with those opportunities, and your CPD will be done as well. But it's just be very careful, make sure it's verifiable, make sure you're tracking all of that, all of those units that you're doing. Make sure you're getting something that proves that you've done it, because I know that can sometimes happen as well. And again, if anybody's ever done courses with Learnsignal, they know that they get their certificate straight away. And if you ever do lose it, we keep them all on record, so we can provide them at any time to you. If you're ever stuck, and it is good just to have every year, just put a little folder in your email or something with your CPD, and as you get notification of your certificates, even if they're in paper form, take a picture and put it into that folder. And just every year, just put all your certificates for each year and keep them in a nice, neat folder. I think is the best way to do that, because you just never know when you're going to get that question. And again, it's not worth your whole ACCA future. You don't want to be called up and not have that backup. You don't want to be in that position where your ethics and your credibility is being questioned. That's not where you want to be. And for the sake of an investment, which is now 60% less in your career, and that's what you're doing. Your CPD is an investment in your career. That's really what it is. And if you can keep investing, it's a relatively small amount to invest in your career, but it can definitely lead to great opportunities and making sure that you have no issues. It's not about just protecting your ACCA qualification because it's important for your job. you all work so hard to get it. I still remember those exams are not easy. There's nobody on this call today who's going to tell me that they thoroughly enjoyed every moment of their ACCA journey. So do recognize that you're protecting something you worked really, really hard for, and that. But if you merge that with your career, you can be very successful. Sun Tailai, part of my job is to provide training to staff in finance budget areas. Could this be part of the 21 units? It could be. If you provide training, yes, that would be allowed. Again, it has to be verifiable in some way that you've given it, or that there've been certificates given to students. So once you can prove that you've done it, Sun Tailai, that's really what you're looking for. Tom, does the 60% reduction apply if you sign up to the lifetime subscription? I don't believe so, Tom. We are, I would say, in my opinion, we're being extremely generous with the 60%, which is great, and it's a great opportunity for you guys, and I know that'll end soon. But no, it doesn't apply to the lifetime. The lifetime all by itself, being lifetime, is extremely competitive as a price. I think 60% on that would possibly be slightly over generous, but yeah, I think the 60% off the annual is a really good price. And what we have also done, so these coupons are recurring. So if you signed up today at the 60% discount, you will continue to get that 60% discount going forward. So I think it's important that, again, it's not just a one-off to get you to pay more money in the future. You will get that 60% benefit as long as you maintain your membership with Learnsignal. So I think I've answered all the questions today. I hope everything that you were wondering about, or concerned about, or thinking about regarding your CPD has answered. I think if you walk away today thinking CPD and learning and continuous development is an opportunity for your career, if you can take that approach, you'll get much more value from it, and I think you might be surprised at how much it will help you in the future. So I wish you all the best with your CPD training. I hope to see some of you at Learnsignal doing courses and seeing your names pass me by when you're getting your certificates in the near future, and certainly between now and the end of the year. I wish you all the luck reaching your 21 verifiable units by the end of the year, and all the best in whatever you choose to do for your career.